This Guy's Garage. Like and subscribe.
Dr. Adam, I'd like to ask you about the March 20th information meeting of the board where Mr. Alexandre Trudeau spoke about the donation, the $140,000 donation. And I'd like to know if Mr. Trudeau indicated his knowledge that the Chinese Cultural Industry Association was involved in that donation.
To, go back in time, but I do recall that he did speak to the effect that he was directly involved in that particular donation, and that he was aware of the implication of this association, but also the donors, because we had proof of that in the sense that there were photos of him with the particular donors. So that's what I can recall from that time.
Do you recall why there was a strong reaction to that?
Well, first of all, I can speak for myself. I think that's the best because we were online, which is difficult to see the reactions, as you know. But I remember that, first of all, we had questions. I had questions as to why Monsieur Trudeau signed the particular donation, because, in fact, it would have been normally, according to that policy, would be the CFO that should have done that. Let's say it was too close for comfort in the sense that already we have the name of Trudeau in our foundation, even though it's public funds, even though it's this foundation is not partisan. But, our current Prime Minister being also a son of Pierre Trudeau and Alexandre also, in a context like that, I felt that we were in a situation where we had to mitigate the risk because it's not the best position to be for a foundation to be perceived, as having issues like links with the political or the government. So I felt personally uncomfortable with that.
Are you aware of the existence of any recordings that contextualized fallout from this event that any members of the board were in possession of?
Recordings?
Yeah, recordings. No?
I'm not sure if that meeting was recorded, I must say.
Recordings of conversations following the meeting?
No.
No. Okay.
That meeting? No.
Thank you. Were there issues raised about Mr. Alexandre Trudeau's vacations with the to the Aga Khan's private estate in the subsequent fallout or follow-ups that occurred with the board?
At any meetings, this was never addressed.
Okay. What part did Carolyn Lynn play during the fallout of the board, becoming aware of this reporting in the Globe and Mail?
Okay, I can only say what I was told,
Yep.
Okay, and also a couple of discussions I had with Mrs. Lynn, the CFO. Je vais parler en français, c'est peut-être un peu plus facile pour moi. C'est plus naturel, disons. Alors, je sais que Mme Lynn ainsi que Pascal Fournier essayaient de reconstruire l'histoire en examinant les dossiers passés, en retournant dans les échanges qui avaient été consignés dans des courriels concernant ce don-là. Et c'est du personnel qui ne sont plus à l'emploi de la Fondation. Alors, ils ont fait une recherche exploratoire de quelles ont été les communications, etc. Alors, j'ai été informée en qualité de vice-présidente à un moment donné qu'il y avait des messages ou des courriels qui indiqueraient qu'il y avait eu des directives provenant d'une entité chinoise qui, plus ou moins, dictait ou à qui devaient être émis les reçus touchant le don.
I only have about 30 seconds left. Would you say that the testimony of Ms. Lin would be valuable if this committee were able to take it? Just a yes or no, if you could, please.
Oui,
Thank
je
you
crois
very much.
que oui.
Thank you. Over several times over multiple meetings, it was decided that Misters Johnson, Salas, and McNiven should recuse themselves because they were in a conflict of interest. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did they recuse themselves?
Non.
And why wouldn't they recuse themselves?
Mr. Barrett?
Faudrait leur demander.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Gibson, you moved the motion for recusal, that's correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Why?
I was aware that there was either a conflict of interest or a perception of conflict of interest that I spoke to the president about, the chair of the board, pardon me. And so I suggested that anyone who had been involved as a director or in those committees in those years in question should be recusing themselves in order to allow for independence. We needed to be able to independently review what had occurred and what had happened. We were requesting an independent review at the time.
And did
we
they recuse
suggested
themselves? Sorry?
They did. There was no recusal of individuals. There was a flurry and a constant engagement by people who were in a conflict, who were either in a conflict of interest or a perceived conflict of interest.
Could you succinctly offer a synopsis of their rationale for their refusal to recuse themselves?
There was no reason offered.
Have you seen evidence as to who I'm going to direct these questions to everyone on the panel if I can. Have you seen evidence as to who the actual donor of the $140,000 was? We'll start online with you, Doctor.
Just what was available in the Globe and Mail, and then what was said in meetings. So I think that's been clearly discussed at this committee level.
Okay, Dr. Adam.
Oui, c'est que there was always some confusion surrounding who were really the real donors, and that was part of the issue that we wanted to be audited, independently.
Okay, thank you. And you nodded in agreement, Ms. Redfern?
I don't believe that I could determine who the real donor was from the information provided, and that was on the basis that the foundation was having trouble returning the donation.
So, who might be able to provide us evidence of that? We've heard in relation to this, Ms. Farah Mohammed's name referenced repeatedly. Do you believe that she would be able to offer further information? Quickly, Ms. Redfern.
I didn't have enough information in my possession at any point in time to know who would actually know who the real donor was.
Dr. Adam, the same question with respect to Farah Mohammed.
Le seul moment où j'ai entendu ce nom, c'est dans une communication de la présidente, Madame Pascal Fournier, qui mentionnait que cette membre avait signalé qu'elle connaissait l'identité, mais vraiment, c'est des oui-dire. Hein? J'ai aucune idée.
Dr. Gibson.
I'm not aware if she would have evidence or not.
Do you know what her role was, Dr. Gibson?
I do not. I believe that the CFO could be a good witness. The former CFO, Carolyn Lin, could be a good witness on this, but she would have been looking back. She would not have been there at the time of the donation.
I'm going to ask each of the witnesses a yes or no question. Do you have additional documents that might assist us in our study, Dr. Gibson?
I provided all my documents to Madame Fournier because she had no access to documentation. So I provided everything and so she would have selected amongst that to provide that information forward.
Thank you. Dr. Adam, any document? She indicated no. And Ms. Redfern? No. Okay, thank you. I think I've got less than 45 seconds, Chair. Are there additional witnesses with respect to this issue that this committee needs to hear from? If you don't have time to answer before my time is up, I'd invite you to please provide your response in writing. Ms. Redfern, names of additional witnesses? Dr. Adam.
Non, j'ai mentionné que Mme Yin serait probablement une témoin utile pour éclaircir certains aspects de ce dossier.
Okay, 15 seconds left. Dr. Gibson.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barrett. Just for the benefit of the committee, we did invite Caroline Lynn to the committee. We are in receipt of a letter from her lawyer indicating that she would not like to appear before the committee.